What you gonna do when they come for you? Let's jump into it.
You are now in the cut with your boy, Keith Jefferson.
You here with the mission, sir? As of right now, we are at war.
Yo, what's good, everyone? This your boy Keith Jefferson come back at you with another episode of In the Cut. Welcome. And let's jump into it. Well, we see a lot of things going on in society, especially with this cancel culture, and where we're seeing people just basically self-reporting and telling off on other people and getting mad at other people's opinions, and especially opinions that have some moral sense to it. And that is becoming problematic. And with that, we're seeing more and more attacks about the church, those unbelievers who constantly try to ridicule us and show us up. And we're seeing a time where the good becomes bad and the bad becomes good. So what would we do with that? All this snitching these folks got going on out here. I mean, folks snitching left and right. I mean, simple thing is we see folks snitching because other folks ain't wearing masks. I mean, these believers, these church folks snitching left and right. But what would we do when the law that we snitching to turns on us? That's an interesting concept. We live in this free country in which I still think that the United States is still one of the best countries that we have today. And I said previously, if it wasn't, you wouldn't see all types of people trying to get here. That's just what it is. But what happens when we leave a republic and go to something else? Go to a different government altogether. This is what happened to the Israelites when they were placed in captivity by way of Babylon. So they were under a whole new authoritarian government. The best and cream of the crop were taken away from Israel and brought to Babylon. And one of those people in particular was Daniel, who became one of the prophets of the Old Testament. Now, Daniel did what he was supposed to do. He represented his religion well. He was faithful to the Most High, to the T. Even when he was a young boy and they were being prepared for royal service, they needed to fatten the boys up. They needed to change their diet in order to make them fit for the king. But the food that they gave the boys, they couldn't eat because it deviated from their dietary requirement as required by the law. And Daniel was very intelligent. So were his friends. Very intelligent to the point he persuaded the overseer to say, hey, I guarantee you that the diet we on will make us healthier and stronger than the diet that you're giving the others. And so the overseer agreed. And it turns out Daniel was right. So Daniel went on and heed to what Jeremiah had prophesied to Israel in Jeremiah 29:7. Pray for the city you in. Raise your family there. Get married. Because you're going to be here for 70 years, so you might as well get comfortable. And that's what Daniel did. He got comfortable because thus says the Lord. But here's where things get tricky. And this isn't just with government. This is what this living period. I mean, if we want to actually apply this. Daniel was serving the royal court. And we're in Daniel 6 when you have an opportunity to read. Now, I'm not going to read word for word. I'm going to break it down to you. Again, we're in Daniel 6. Daniel was serving King Darius. And King Darius was looking for someone to appoint as a high official. And they looked at the works of each one, and Daniel was the one who stood out. Because Daniel understood that his work was for the Lord. It was to the Lord, because the Lord is the giver of all good things. Daniel understood this. So when he went to work, he put his best foot forward at all times. And that in itself should be a lesson to us as believers, that we're supposed to put our best foot forward at all times, regardless of the situation that we in. I remember growing up, my granddaddy told me, he said, hey boy, I'm like, yes sir, I had to dig ditches for a living. Did you think I enjoyed it? I said, no sir. He said, but you guess what? I didn't, but I had to do it. And I was the best ditch digger there was. So Daniel felt the same way about his position. So Daniel was on the cusp of being appointed to that high position. But of course, the haters showed up. Now remember, Daniel was a refugee, so to speak. He was a prisoner of war because of the Babylonian conquest of Israel. But he worked so well that Darius, there wasn't no Darius mind. He was looking what was best for the kingdom. And again, Daniel stood out. So the haters came up with a plan. They couldn't attack his work ethic because it was impeccable. They couldn't attack his character because his character was impeccable. But what they did do, they attacked his religion. Sounds familiar, huh? They attacked his religion. So they went to King Darius. They say, hey, King, What you think about this? Why don't you pass an edict that say for 30 days that no one can pray to any god except you? And Darius is like any other monarchy. Most of them kind of, self-absorbed. He went with it. Darius signed it. Daniel did what Daniel does, what Daniel did back then. Daniel went up to the roof, turned to Jerusalem, and prayed 3 times a day. So, of course, the haters had to go back and tell, hey, King Darius, now didn't you pass an edict that said for 30 days that nobody come pray to any other god? They had to pray to you? And Darius said, yes. Well, guess what? Your servant Daniel, who is from Israel, they decided to tell where he's from just to illustrate that he wasn't one of them, was praying to his God 3 times a day. I mean, they were that descriptive. So that means they were spying on Daniel. They had a spy on my man so they can come back and snitch. And this put the king in a strange position. And I'm going to stop right there because the rest of the story you should read for yourself if you don't already know it. But here's the point I'm trying to make. Let's be careful how we walking. Let's be careful what we doing. Let's be like Daniel and stay in our own lanes. Because at any time, this government could turn on the church. Just looking at the king was a just man, although he was a pagan. But he was a just man. And you'll still have just people inside a government. But you'll have those who are an opponent or an adversary to the church. Because Daniel represented the Most High to the fullest. I mean, his character, spotless. His commitment, spotless. His walk, spotless. And as I said before, when there's a beacon of morality, somebody got to tear it down. Because the beacon of morality is a mirror. And when that beacon of morality is there, it shows them their sinful nature. And they don't like that. Nobody likes being told what they really are. Because now we're seeing in an age of moral relativism where people are extremely self-absorbed because they want to do what they want to do without any type of authority. I'm seeing young men who are being raised with no type of authority. They don't fear nor respect authority. Which tells me they're not being taught about the Most High in the house. They're not going to church. They're not going to Sunday school. Grandmama, granddad ain't sitting down breaking down the scriptures to them because they're not fearing God. And the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So they don't have any wisdom. So what they're going to do is hate on those who do. Hate on those who have morality. Hate on those who have a standard. And so church folk, we got to be careful. We got to be careful who we walking with. I'm telling y'all, we can't be out here walking with any and everybody because everybody don't have our best interest. They may seem like they have our best interest, but when push comes to shove, when they decide to come for you, what is it you gonna do? Are you just gonna placate, play along to get along? Or are you going to be like Daniel? Are you going to still remain steadfast to the Most High God? Are you going to keep on walking with Christ regardless of the circumstances? Because I'm telling you, I am. Y'all hear me loud and clear. I am. If it comes a day when the church is attacked in any form, I'm going to stand right there with the church. And whatever comes, just come. And if we continue with Daniel's story right here, when he went to the lion's den and he prayed and he survived it, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pray. And if the Lord sees fit to allow me to survive, that's all good. If not, I'll be with him. And that's how we got to look at things. How faithful are we? How faithful are we? Are we faithful to the death? I know this is heavy for some of y'all. Are we faithful and committed to the death? That's the question you got to answer yourself, because I never thought in this time I would see Revelation fulfilling itself. I never thought. When I was younger, I'm thinking, well, that's going to take 3, 4, 5 generations before that started happening. And I'm seeing it unfold with my very eyes. And I'm fearful, not to the point that I'm being scary, but I'm fearful what is to come when some wise butts in D.C. decide that religion isn't needed anymore. See, that's what happened in the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia when Lenin decided to take over and bring in socialism to Russia. Because, see, the state is what I'm calling the supreme government. See, the state can't have anything undermining its authority. They can't have people's minds being controlled by God. So what the state wants to do, the state wants to remove God so it can play God. I ain't down with that. No, I ain't down with that because I stand with the Most High God because he is the giver of all things. He has made me to what I am. He has given me all that I have. He has, most importantly, he has saved me from my sin. And that alone gets my loyalty because I was destined to be condemned forever. And forever is a mighty long time. I was going to be condemned forever, but he gave me an opportunity. And that opportunity was to receive Christ. And I took it and I ran with it. He didn't have to do it, but he did. So that in itself is enough for me to have unwavering loyalty. But again, I say, what say you? Are you going to roll with what's going on when adversity strikes? Because I believe, before I close my eyes, I believe that I'm going to see direct attacks on the church. Because I believe that. So what are you going to do? I'm going to keep asking that question until I'm done with this. What are you going to do? Are you going to run, hide, again, play along to get along? Or are you going to stand firm in the faith? I suggest that you stay firm in the faith because the reward is something that's off the chain. Y'all think about it. Think about it. Tell me what you think. You can hit me up on Facebook at Keith A. Jefferson. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what your thoughts on what you're seeing, what's going on, what you gonna do. In the meanwhile, please subscribe, share, and if you want to support, hit us at $KJ Preach. Until we talk the next time, y'all be blessed. Peace.